All right, hello people. I'm starting the stream early because I have a lot of things to cover. I have so many things to talk about. I can't fucking sleep. I don't know why. Probably because I drank too much coffee today. And my air conditioning isn't working. So it's so hot in here. I'm just sweating my tits off. And I want to die. Everything is awful. But that's okay because I don't have any work to do today. So I have the whole rest of the day to just sleep and be a lazy piece of shit or whatever. I saw there was some big news about the conference for Men's Issues. They decided they're doing it virtually, which is too bad. But I guess I wasn't gonna be able to go in person anyway, so doesn't make that big of a difference to me. But the interesting thing is they said they're gonna do a virtual conference, which is totally a half-baked, retarded idea I had like a year ago that nobody remembers, and I actually made a separate channel for it called Virtual Conference, and I thought I was going to put together like exactly the thing that they're doing now. So part of me feels a little bit bitter. Like, man, if I had like really committed to that idea, I would have like had this thing ready and then like COVID would have happened at the beginning of 2020 and it would have been like absolutely perfect and prophetic. But instead, like I didn't do it. I just had the idea and I was just satisfied with the idea, so nothing came of it. But that's fine. I get to see it happen.
Hello.
Hello, and I'm checking on OBS. It's showing the little lines of the audio when you talk as well as when I talk. So I think I got the audio set up right.
Oh wow.
I know, right out the gate, right out the gate. Somehow I'm doing better at this streaming thing when I have literally zero sleep. When literally all I did was just lay in the bed, tossing and turning, which is fine because I always listen to YouTube while I'm sleeping anyway. So it's whatever. Oh, why did the Hangouts disappear? What's going on? What? Oh, there we go. I have to have it, like, up. Okay. But anyway, I was just talking about, did you see the news about AVFM? They're gonna do, like, 120 things, and they're gonna have them, like, one after another. It's literally exactly the stupid idea I had for a virtual conference, and they're doing it. But, like, they're actually doing it instead of just having the idea.
Are you talking about Paul Elam or?
Well, I mean, it's the ICMI, so it's like Liz Hobson and it's Justice for Men and Boys. I think is the ones doing it this year.
Right? Because I knew when I missed the beginning of your sentence, I thought maybe you were talking about the website that Paul and Janice are starting with Tom Golden.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they're doing a website called like regardingmen.com where they're gonna have daily Zoom meetings. That piece of software that nobody knew about before this year, but yeah, so that should be interesting.
Well, that's good because their series they do together is pretty good. The three of them. Have they done
Yeah,
one? I feel like I haven't seen them post one at all recently. I feel like it's been a while.
yeah, they have been uploading them, but at a much slower rate, like only one or two, I think, in the last couple of months. So
Yeah,
maybe they're
I'm a
busy with them.
fan. I'm a fan of them.
I had
They're
a
a good
realize,
mix altogether too.
yeah, I had another realization this morning about normiedom, which is that like you know, there's a certain expectation you have that um, the elements of language we use in these communities won't be corrupted by the mainstream. And if and when that happens, because it occasionally does, then you can safely say that it's a dead meme, dead language. It no longer serves its function. And such is the case with the term simp, for instance, which I heard being uttered this morning by a normie to basically he was commenting on a woman's attractiveness. He said that she was attractive, or words to that effect, and then followed it up with, "Oh, I can't believe I'm simping so hard for so and so." And while I'm sure that is funny to a certain type of person, the whole purpose behind the term simp was that it was supposed to have a kind of a moral message to it. There's that Bible verse from, I think it's from the book of Judges. It's something like, give not thy strength, meaning probably wealth, resources, to women, nor thy, or to to that which destroyeth kings. It's something like that. Or thy power to that which destroyeth kings. And that's basically what the term simping was originally supposed to mean, like significantly emotionally or monetarily, often, investing in a woman with no evidence that there'll ever be any sort of return on that investment. But of course, if you're just describing a woman as attractive who hasn't even met you, like you're not even actually interacting with her, then you're not actually offering anything to her that there could be any reasonable expectation of returns from. So therefore, it's not simping. And that's the reason the term was coined, because they wanted to distill that Bible verse, because, you know, that's a bit long, isn't it? It has lots of words and lots of archaic language, and it was just too fucking complicated for the masses to digest. So it was like, maybe if we reduced the message of that verse into a single word, then just maybe it would be simple enough for their puny minds to comprehend. But it's a waste of time. Expecting intelligence or discernment from a normie is like expecting a whale to climb El Capitan.
Yeah, there's a couple of things on that. I mean, I could see partly how there's like a matter of degree to it, right? I'm just gonna check the audio here. Something with these little Bluetooth things. It's like every time I hook them up, something different fucking happens. Let me see. Here, try and talk again. Okay, so if I do that, then it doesn't work.
Hello, hello?
It's like, it's set to stereo, because that's the only way I can get the audio to go through. So it makes your voice sound, like, weird and robot-y. But, like, you're understandable. I guess I don't know why it's acting this way. If I change it to the other thing, I think then it stops working. Yeah, because the way I just edited it is that I'll be able to hear you, but then it won't be able to go through the thing. I don't know. I have no idea why it's this way. And I don't, like, the option isn't... Oh, now there's a new option. What the fuck? Okay, now talk again. No, now it's not showing up on the thing. God damn. Okay. And I'm gonna stop tinkering with it in a moment, but, like... It's weird how, like, I close a window, and then I open the window again, and then there's, like, randomly extra options available. And I don't know why. Alright, well... I'm gonna just settle for the setup as that now, because that's just, everything is hearable, and that's about the standard I can have.
Great.
Anyway, but yeah, so with the term simp, like, you could make the argument, right, that, like, doing anything good is, like, some level of simping, and then eventually there's, like a threshold, right, where it reaches, like, the biblical standard. But
doing anything good.
Doing anything, really, you know? Like, if you breathe too close to a woman and the carbon dioxide is useful, you're simping, you know? But yeah, but that robs it of its meaning, right? So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just...
But it's like anything, though. I mean, that's why I just subscribe to this idea that, you know, language is in the mouth of the beholder. Well, not beholder, the speaker, right? And you know, that just goes down to, like, the normies using language in a normie way, then you just prescribe lower value to it. But I get that in the context of, like, a larger social zeitgeist. Like, yeah, there's really, nothing is sacred. There's no preserving it. So...
Well, the issue is that there's no point in even using the term now. It's essentially dead. Because
well, no,
it interacted...
There's point in using it, because you can use it in circles where people get what it means, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
There you go. You know, you could carve out a space where you can still use words and they can have meaning that's relevant. This is why we look down on the normies and hate them,
I guess we've done that to a large extent, but
And it's a constant struggle. I mean, I struggle with it all the time because, like, literally, like, every important word I use, I have, like, a special understanding of. And, like, if I want to talk to anybody, I have to do, like, so much, like, architecture of explaining, like, what I specifically mean by each thing. And, like, that's just, I don't know, like, there's no other way to go about it.
yeah. Somebody on your last stream commented what's with all the incels or something like that. Don't know if he's a regular, but
But sorry, what did they say?
he said what's with all the incels or something approximately like that.
Oh yeah, I don't remember if we quite addressed that, but yeah, like nowadays I when I saw the post about like for ICMI them looking for people to like have some kind of a presentation, I thought like, ooh, I'm definitely going to reach out to them, like fill out the little form, and I really hope that they let me have something on there. And then I started thinking like, well, what kind of a thing would I do? And I still have no idea because I only just learned about it. But one idea I'm kind of kicking around, right, is this idea of all these different factions within the manosphere. How like a lot of people they mostly identify with one of them, or maybe they have some sympathies in a couple of camps. But to me, it's like the process of doing like a tour, kind of through all of them, and gaining a little bit of a lesson from each one. I think is kind of the approach to go to, and quite unexpectedly, I think that the black pill and in seldom, um, it's in a lot of ways it's the most important one and the most overlooked. So it's the most important in the sense that like it's not being talked about enough, and it's like really, um, most of the other people, even people who are quote unquote red pilled, they're dismissing it and they're not taking it seriously. And I know that because like it's not something that I gave serious thought to, even though it was something I was aware of for like literally years. You know.
Yeah. Was it I who introduced you to this stuff formally? I can't really, like,
Well, I
it's
mean,
a few
basically,
months
because like
back.
I always had like some some knowledge of it, right? But then like it was when you linked me the Nama Kate's interview with Face, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, this guy's an incel guru, and it's like, okay, that's a hilarious concept, and like it literally is a hilarious concept. But then like actually listening to it and realizing like this is a valuable community and everything. And that was sort of like one part of it. The earlier part of it was meeting Richard at ICMI last year, because that was the first time I saw someone who's like, hi, I'm Richard. I'm an incel. Like like practically on a name tag, like name comma incel. Like and to see someone like be like, yeah, like that's this is what I am, and I like own it, and I talk about it from my perspective. And it just like I was like really taken aback because I hadn't like met anybody who just straight up like owns that, and it made me realize like, yeah, that actually is like a really valuable thing.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that
I
was
always, for as long as I've known about them, I thought they were the most interesting part of the manosphere, and like you said, the most overlooked, the least well understood, I guess, because of all the negative publicity that surrounds them. But it's like with any community, there is a mainstream, even within subcultures, like to the extent that you can describe the manosphere as a subculture. It has a mainstream and then it has the quote unquote fringe elements. So you get like fractally fringe elements within a fringe subculture again. And that's basically what I guess the black pill community is, because the average person who moves in these circles is they're still locked into this idea that it's all about status and money, and that college-aged women want to date men in their 30s or older and that kind of thing. All these just, like, really completely delusional things that
well
are
because so many
like,
of them are old.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. Like it's the MRM and the manosphere in general. It's like it's so unappealing to young men. It's like the last thing they ever want to hear about. And like so much of like specifically with men's rights, it's a lot of men who like they didn't give a shit about men's rights their entire life, and then it wasn't until after they're old and they've experienced so many things and seen so many things that now they're realizing there's a need for it, which is one reason that my sympathies are slightly limited, which is um, I'm not proud of that, but I think it's kind of worth floating the concept, right? That like it's kind of precious to be all for men's rights, like only the moment after it's like completely like you had like all these divorces destroy you and everything like that, right? Like you know what I mean? Like the idea that you have to have personally experienced it, or just like these feminist women who like are
It's
all for all the bullshit, and then the moment like their son is like caught up in it, then all of a sudden they have all this sympathy, you know?
uh, direct experience is one aspect to it. I think it's more speculative, but I have a feeling that there's probably also an effect of age itself. Because, like, by the time you're a guy in your 40s and 50s, you know, your testosterone levels are a bit lower, your sex drive's a bit lower, you're not as invested in pleasing women anymore because, you know, there's just not as much point once you've got to that age. I mean, unless you're married or have a partner anyway, like it's kind of over at that point, so you have the freedom to be a bit more honest. And then in that case, even if they haven't, you know, these older guys might then, you know, listen to their friends who've had experiences with men's issues in a way that they probably wouldn't if they're young. Like with these young guys, like if you have a guy in your social circles that you're telling about men's issues, you know, in your youth, when you're both young, most likely he's just going to want to not be friends with you because it'll reduce his status in the eyes of women to be associated with you.
Yeah, well, and then also like when you're young, it's kind of like you might as well take the risk, right? Like, like it's not like you really gain much from investing in men's rights early. Because I mean, arguably, it's one thing MGTOW love to point out, right? Is like the MRM hasn't like it hadn't really had much success, right? So this idea that like, oh, if only all the males were investing in the men's rights movement from like the first drawn breath, right? like as if it would make that big of a difference. I mean, in theory, if you had all of them right, but of course that's never the
All of
case.
what?
If you had them all just investing constantly and like pursuing men's issues and like always like advocating for themselves, like nobody lives in the reality where it's like that's even remotely on the table, right? Like everyone's living in a world where, largely speaking, nobody gives a shit. So you might as well kind of accept the world as it is, take your risks, and maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones who doesn't have to deal with the issues, right? And if you're not, well then like you wouldn't have been any better off for having not taken the risk in some ways. I guess depending on what you're talking about. But I guess what I'm trying to segue into is one of the two stories. Did you see the Tommy Lauren thing? The
Yes.
talk of the town lately, and I don't want to watch like the whole thing.
I mean, to be honest, like,
It's really
I'm not,
funny. It's funny,
I'm
but it's
not,
also really sad.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, to me, she always came across as a fairly vapid, like, bimbo. Like, I never really expected much from her. So
No,
I don't
yeah, me
know.
neither. That was totally. I always hated her. She's like a poor stupid man's Ann Coulter. She's like
Yeah,
Ann Coulter without like the wit and kind of the she still has like the bitchiness, but it's like there's no refinement to it. It's just like a princess prissy girl bitchiness. It's not like Ann Coulter where she could get in these like really deliciously witty like scathing things. And, she, and,
yeah.
and and Ann Coulter's got the cougar effect, which I think probably on all counts Ann Coulter is like just superior.
I
Like
think
Tommy
she
Lauren is
has.
Ann Coulter for dumb people.
I think she has a partially masculinized brain. Coulter, that is.
Oh yeah, you can
Um,
tell by her jaw.
well, I mean, that and also just her behavior.
Yeah, very
And the
very much
fact
so.
and the fact that, you know, she's on the conservative side of politics who usually value motherhood, but she's chosen not to have children. Which in her case, like I think it was probably a sensible choice. Like I really can't really imagine her as a mother. She seems quite cold. Um, but it makes her very effective in argument. So
Yeah, and you couldn't imagine her with a man that would fill that role either.
yeah,
That's like the interesting thing about like a woman who doesn't seem motherly. She's also the kind of woman that you wouldn't expect to have a partner that would fill that role either.
oh, by the way, I had a suspicion about this. I know this is like very typical of me, but she's tall as well. She's 6 feet tall.
Oh, there we go. That confirmed that she's Chad confirmed. Just the Chad
Yeah.
Ann Coulter versus the virgin Tommy Lawrence. Frankly, I've insulted Ann Coulter by even making the comparison. But so I'm gonna play a little bit of her video. So this was convenient because I wasn't sure where the full video was, and we're not going through the whole video because holy shit, I can't stand it. But
Is it on Twitter?
Stardust. Well, Stardust has put together like a clipped up version of it, and I'm just gonna play it, but like fast. So let's see. We'll put this on. And I'll put it. We'll put it on double speed. Fuck it. Just fuck it.
Is this a new video of his? I think I checked his
Yeah, he
channel
uploaded this
earlier.
just like 5 seconds ago.
Oh, right.
I mean, not literally 5 seconds, but you know. Oh, and I love the picture he chose of her for it. Like, it's
Huh.
all good, all around.
Someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So, with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country. I made notes. This is how invested I am in this because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now.
Okay, so first thing I want to say is I love how her logic is, okay, me and all my friends are having problems with men in general. And since it's all of us having problems, it must not be us. It must be all men, right? Like that's the first bit of like retarded logic I love, right? Is it's like, okay, so me and my friends who are all similar in all these ways, since we're all having problems, the common denominator can't be us. It has to be literally all men. And then she goes on to say, and it can't just be the men in all the areas. It has to be men all over everywhere. And she's not saying this in like a satirical or like hyperbolized way, right? Like this is like she's really thinking out loud, and it's so fucking funny because like she basically tells you the entire like it's TMI through like absolute non-self-awareness, and there's absolutely zero irony in the whole thing.
Is it TMI? I mean, I saw some of it, but like it seemed pretty non-descriptive. Like she didn't.
Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Are you actually single? That means single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it because in 2020...
Oh, what the fuck? Is there another ad? Oh my god, the fuckers. Why did they put an ad on here? I already played the ad. Okay.
It's not a given anymore. The guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested. Make a plan. I know it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out. And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine. But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on. Quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you're also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on. Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang.
So okay, that's it. That's the part of it, right? So the first thing is these men aren't exclusive, right? They're sending messages to many different women because that's the nature of an app like Tinder or whatever, right? And then the other thing is like they're not making plans because they're just trying to see if they can get a conversation started with a number of people, right?
So it's just the typical like Freud cliche of Chad equals men. Or
Well, maybe. I mean, she says you don't have to be Brad Pitt, right? So that's her way of saying she's, you know, she knows she's a 10, of course. So she's willing to settle for the 8s, right? That's kind of how she sees it. That's what she's saying, right? And like in actuality, she's not a 10 and she would be settling for someone lower, but she's not. She'd be settling for presumably her looks match, right? But to her, like that would be settling. But
yeah,
the other thing too is she complains about her friends. They even try to go for men that are 5 or 10 or 15 years older, but they only want to date the girls that are younger than her and have nothing going on, right? And one thing, I was listening to Nick Rekieta was making fun of this clip, right? And one interesting thing they pointed out is for Tommy Lauren, what she has going on, it's like literally nothing. Cause this video she made, she's fucking recording it vertically. It's a fucking Instagram story, right? And she's like a media commentator, right? She's like a professional media news commentator, and the bitch can't edit a fucking video. She can't edit a video. She can't edit her audio. She can't do fucking anything. She's like literally just all men do all the fucking work for her, right? And then what does she contribute? Like she just says like basic bitch conservative Trump boomerist talking points, but since she's like a young-ish blonde woman saying it, people are like, "Ooh, wow, oh, beauty and brains, wow, ooh, right?" Like a man saying all of this shit is just like any dude on like a forum, right? Like so what is it? What is it? It's just it's nothing but a liability. It's nothing but like you're this person who like half of America can't stand, right? And like if men only want, like to pump and dump a young blonde chick, why the fuck would they go for you and all of your fucking conservative boomerist fucking baggage, right? So like of course you're inferior. All of your quote unquote shit you have going on, all your fucking career, all that shit, it's nothing but just extra baggage that makes her less desirable and ironically lowers her sexual marketplace value.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, but in the larger context, it doesn't matter, right? Like, and that's the saddest thing about it. The saddest thing about it is everything she's saying in this video. Like there's no force in society that's going to compel her to change or to reflect or to be better. She's gonna get exactly what she wants.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, it's interesting that, I mean, she's 27 apparently, but it is, she is a Stacy, so it shouldn't be that difficult for her to get a high tier sort of guy to stick around, but I guess maybe it's the baggage from a media career or something, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been going through the comments on this video here, and it's a lot of, like, trad cuck cope, right? It's a lot of, like, oh, well, with this attitude, she's never gonna truly be happy, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like, that's a stupid argument. Or people are like, oh, well, she's at the end of her fertility window. She's hitting the wall soon, and it's just like, no.
Lol.
Like, no. Like, it's not a... I'm sorry, her at the floor of her SMV is like, maybe if she gets, like, a scar in a prominent place, then she'll be, like, average male when she's in her 60s and 70s, right? Like, that's just the reality. She's not gonna have any comeuppance. Men aren't gonna hold her to any standard in mass, right? She's gonna have her simps, and her simp is gonna be, probably better looking than her, and she'll perceive it as settling, and there you go. And even people who want to argue, like, oh, well, even if people still think she's attractive in her 30s, like, she might not be able to have kids because her eggs are gonna go bad, right? And it's like, I don't know, she's probably made her fucking money off of, what is it? Who Blaze TV is fucking, like, Rush Limbaugh. She has her fucking Limbaugh buck. She can freeze a couple eggs. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. So there's literally nothing in reality that's going to hold her accountable and give her consequences. Besides maybe us mocking her on the internet. That's like cyberbullying is literally like our only hope for humanity right now.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, a lot of wealthy women, and she probably is quite wealthy, can just freeze their eggs and many of them do, and like, yeah, it's traditional conservatives will go to any sort of lengths to pretend that there's some sort of accountability waiting for women who act out in strange ways, but it's not going to happen. The only thing that I guess you could call accountability is that she might not be able to get the quality of men later in her life that she wants. And I guess that's a quote-unquote problem, heavy scare quotes that a lot of women have. It's like when these 40-year-old women say, where have all the good men gone? And like you can translate that to where have all the Chads gone? That's what that really means. But like it's not as if she's really gonna have trouble finding anyone ever. So
yeah, exactly. Because if that weren't the case, they would say, "Where have all the men gone?" Right? But even if I say that, right, there's a connotation of like, "Oh, well, you're not a real man," right? Like the fact that the phrase is "Where have all the good men gone?" is it's like you got a lot packaged in that word "good." You got a lot of expectations in that word "good," and like realizing that is the red pill. But then realizing that that doesn't matter is the black pill.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm trying to remember. So it's like, the other funny thing about this video is she's basically goes into like this lecture mode, right? Like she's a fucking drill sergeant, I don't know. I have like so many mixed feelings about the whole thing. She lists like a few different points and it's all fucking stupid. I think we covered everything that needs to be covered on it. But the other thing was this video that the Weeaboo Femoid had linked about Hung Night speed dating, which is really stupid. She put it in the library just to make everyone suffer, and I hated every fucking moment of this video, and I'm gonna make everyone else suffer too. This is only 3 minutes long. I'm gonna play it at like 1.5 speed. God, it's so terrible. I hate it so much. Because what we need is the opposite of this. It shouldn't be big penis dating. It should be small PP pride. It's gotta be teeny weeny peenies rise up. Because that's the real pride movement we need. This like hung night speed dating thing, just the self-indulgence of it all and the stupidity of it. I hate so much, and I hate it so much that I can't even like intelligently express it. So I'm just gonna play it.
On my sleeve, and my size on my sleeve too.
Alright, welcome to the on-speed dating event tonight. Size matters. The minimum standard for tonight is 7 inches. It has to be 7 or more.
Yeah, 7'5".
Alright.
I didn't have a ruler at home, so I printed out like a ruler on a piece of paper at work, and I was kind of like
7, 9.
Okay. I think women come to you tonight because they're looking to be satisfied where they weren't satisfied before.
Once I had a big I couldn't go back to average or anything else.
So it was between this and firefighter, and I was like, no, let's go with the big. What's the biggest thing? Oh boy, 9.5, 10 inches. It was great, but like that's a huge. I would be completely ruined if they don't have the amazing. Well, I'm just like, also, I'm like, where is it? Which way did it go?
The daters who come to these events ask for specific events to cater to them, and this was one of the requests that we received.
One time I encountered a guy who was so small. After touching it, I just said I had my period and
They want me to tell you the size doesn't matter. I depend on guys know different.
I like that. It's really by the honor system because I don't get paid enough to verify their measurements.
Single for 2 years.
I've been married for 20 years and I'm 42 and I have to start dating again. I don't want to waste my time. Why are you here?
to find women that are interested in big penises. Couldn't get stuff accomplished. Too big.
They don't sleep with me because of my size. They sleep with me because of personality.
Yeah, I did. Sometimes, I don't know, like French, or you like this one, I don't know.
I don't get nearly as much oral as I would like want. Like, and usually that's the reason.
What brings you to this speed dating? You prefer big? You could be with someone that you're on the road to either lust or love, and then like, oh damn, I'm so disappointed. So I feel like this should happen more.
Tonight, feel free to log into your on-speed dating accounts and select each other as matches.
Yeah, I like 1 or 2 guys. I think this is DJ. He's cute. And he's also like pre-qualified, so it's all good. There's no chemistry, I guess. There was one guy.
Are you single? Are you serious? Is he hung? You don't want to answer that?
So there you go.
I wear my heart on my
Rest in
sleeve,
peace
and,
are any IQ points we had above 120. It's gone. Like, so one thing I hate about this is they have multiple different speed dating concepts, right? And the ones they chose to actually do are based on what was the most requested. And like just like that one woman said, she's like, well, there's one for men who are all firefighters, and then there's one for just dudes that have big cocks. And I was like, big cocks are more important to me than a good like noble profession like fucking fighting fires. No, I want the big dick one, right? Like imagine you're a dude who's a firefighter and you also got a big dick and you're like, oh, I should go to a speed dating thing, and then you see these ones are available and you're like, oh, well, I should sell what's going to be the most desirable to women, so I'm going to go to the firefighting one because obviously a woman of quality is going to value the fact that I'm a firefighter. No, fuck you. No. She wants a big dick. God, and those women were so gross, too. Literally going there being like, well, I've been fucking ran through so many fucking times. You know, this is a hot dog down a hallway situation, right? Fuck.
I mean,
frankly,
like,
do some kegels, bitch. Do some kegels. You fucking lazy, nasty whores.
This
But
whole,
again,
like...
they're not going to be punished. They're not. There's nothing going to happen to them. No repercussions.
This whole shtick that women have about firefighters is just like yet another symptom of lack of self-awareness and low IQ, because like when they say this, it's just a weird... It's really weird, because women aren't actually attracted to firefighters. They're attracted to men who are good-looking, you know, surprise, surprise, and a lot of firefighters are actually balding, middle-aged men, and I actually had personal experience with this. I can't remember the context to it, but exactly, but basically a fire engine came to my school one time in secondary school, and it was one of those things where they, you know, bring people in from the local community to show the job that they do for educational purposes, or I guess to encourage people, especially males, to maybe take up the profession themselves later on in life. But anyway, so they came to the school and the girls were getting excited because they heard the word firefighter, and they obviously had a particular image in their heads when they heard that word. And then when they actually came outside and saw them, you know, they weren't impressed because they weren't physically attractive. A lot of them were kind of old, middle-aged, balding, etc., etc. So, like, yeah, like, if you're not a Chad, they don't care. They really don't care. Same thing with, like, soldiers or any of the other professions that women claim to find attractive. It's all horseshit.
I wonder if there's been like a study where where they try to measure just like average physical attractiveness based on profession. Like you'd have to obviously make it blind from the profession, right? Because there is this whole thing of like when you have like male strippers, right? They're often like themed after a profession, right? But of course, it's always like you know these are like bodybuilders and models or whatever, right? And dressing up in like a sexualized version of like a police officer or a firefighter or whatever, it's really just part of like bringing the fact that he's like someone who does this thing, right? Because you have to bring his profession into it, right, in order for it to be like part of the fantasy, because it's, you know, like a hypergamous thing.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure how much bearing those like preferences have on women's actual behavior. It's like I'm sort of skeptical of using romance novels as a proxy or a window into women's actual mating behaviors, because you'll find all sorts of weird characters that seem to pop up again and again in romance novels, like, you know, werewolves and vampires and pirates and surgeons, you know, for some bizarre reason. And billionaires. Is there anything that all of those things really have in common? I mean, I struggle to think of one. I mean, if you really had to, I'm sure you could construct some sort of narrative about what all those things have in common. But it's like we don't really have anything to compare it to. because romance novels for men aren't really a thing. If they were, if like men read erotica, and if there was a market for men reading erotica, and that is heterosexual men anyway, I'm sure you'd find like a really weird and colourful assortment of female characters that would be really weird and funny.
Well,
And
because the
any,
male equivalent of that would be in a different form, right? Like there is sort of a male reciprocal or equivalent to it, but like obviously it's going to be manifested in a different way.
yeah, it doesn't make it true to reality, though, is what I'm saying. If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of like if you were to like look at porn, right? And then say like, oh, this is like the idealized thing of what men want, which is basically what like the anti-pornographer feminists like were arguing, is they're like, this is how men want sex and how they want it to look, and it's like, not really, right? Like it looks and is that way because of the medium, right? And because of what it's supposedly used, like not supposed, but it is literally
Can I
used
ask-
for, right?
Can I ask, is there objection to it that it's violent? Because we now know that women watch violent porn way more than men do. That is a fact. So
No, that's because they've been conditioned by the patriarchy. That's
Oh, well.
that's a phallocentric epistemological bias in play. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, and it started with men. It all started with men. I don't know.
Epistemol-
Yeah, but no, they don't fucking, they haven't addressed that, obviously. Their movement fucking has done fuck all and died off and literally got revived by the alt-right. Like that's the trajectory of that movement. This awkward bedfellows of like neo-Nazis and Andrea Dworkin's ghost.
not so much. Are you talking about TERFs or and?
Well,
Oh no, like swerfs you're talking about. Sorry.
yeah, those are the swerfs. Now, well,
Yeah.
it's funny though because usually
Not even
swerfs and
that.
turfs
It's
like
not-
get kind of like
It's
they
not
treated as
neo-
a thing.
It's not neo-Nazis though, really, is it? It's just
No, they're not.
normie
There's no such.
conservatives.
Yeah, I mean, neo-Nazis are like a meme, whatever.
Oh, I
There's
see.
only one hate crime that's not a fucking hoax. Literally one. But anyway, like, let me see here. What was the other thing? Yeah, so the chat's feeling the same thing. These women are like disgusting, post-well stretched out, gross hoes. But
Yeah.
again, black pill. We're gonna problematize this. This is the problematization stream, and I'm gonna problematize this. The problem is that these women are gonna get what they want. They asked for big dick speed dating, and they're gonna get that. Although, the bitch who organized it says they don't pay me enough to measure a bunch of dicks. Why not? What? Like you're not shy about having men like just state where on their fucking armband, like a Star of David on a Jew, have them wear exactly how big their dick is next to their fucking name. You're not shy about asking that, but then you're suddenly so bashful that you can't like hold out a ruler to visually verify that their penises are as big as they say. Like what kind of service is that? If a man were running this, a man would measure all the dicks. If I was organized, I'd measure the dicks. I don't care. I guess
Yeah.
well, you'd probably need a non-gay person to do that. No, the men wouldn't care though. They wouldn't give a shit. Like they would just, I don't know.
Probably not.
No, but she's too bashful to measure the dicks.
And the wall thing is just such a cope. Only
It's
men.
it's a cope. It's a cope. You can
Only-
kind of make an argument as to fertility, but it's strictly fertility. If you're talking about like looks, being wanted, being whatever, like which is really what people are generally referring to, I think. Then
Yeah.
it's like irrelevant.
Only men meaningfully have a wall. Like you get to a certain age and then it's not necessarily that you can't get some, but your value to women becomes purely financial, hence the term beta box. So it's not like they actually desire you. Whereas there's essentially we know from the Tinder experiments and so on that there's literally no age at which women can't get at least short-term attention from an abundance of prime-aged guys.
No, because Tinder isn't science, okay?
Okay.
I don't know, I can't even like paraphrase that argument in a way because like there's nothing. God, anyway, that was.
I mean, people say that online isn't real life, but like, isn't the major difference between online and the real world is that it enables people to actualize preferences that they actually have that they couldn't in real life. So that you could say that it's more real in that sense. Like, it allows people to exercise more choice. Women, I should say. But no, like
Yeah, that's a good point. It does like it reflects if you're using it to measure people's choices and like if you have more choice on the internet, it's more real in that sense.
I mean, but when people say it isn't real life or that it isn't scientific, like, are they trying to suggest that the men who are messaging like these old women and stuff that they just want to talk to her for platonic reasons or something like that? Like, it's one of those things where you can tell that they're just, if the data. I mean, I said this to you. It's such a cope because if the data from these sites showed what they wanted it to show, like if it was conducive to the blue pill narrative, then nobody would question it. Nobody would be saying, "Oh, it's not real life," but because it isn't convenient to them, they have to come up with all these coping strategies to try to ignore it. Like, you can literally tell them the sky is blue, and if they decided that that was inconvenient to their worldview in some way, then they would find some way to dismiss it.
Oh yeah, and like that actually happens a lot in the manosphere circles because you have so many issues that like they're not properly investigated, right? So then when you want to look at these issues, you'll have some like weird fringe experiment or whatever. Like a great example is men's versus women's in-group out-group preference. There's like one study that suggests that, right? And like I love that argument because I think it's totally fucking true and I see it everywhere. But the actual data is like extremely thin, right? And it's like I don't know. It's like it confirms the worldview. So I'm like, yeah, I'll use it because that's all we have. You know, show me evidence to the contrary, sure, but like that, you know what I mean? Like it's it's slim pickings, right, among that community. But yeah, that as far as blue pill shit is concerned, yeah, it goes without saying.
I mean, this data we have from dating sites is the best thing we've got. You know, with a sample size, an aggregate sample size in the millions, you know, you're not going to be able to get something that's superior to that just with like random anecdotes or camera footage or whatever. The only thing that would really be superior to it would be taking advantage of Zuckerberg's omniscient AI. I think I said this to you a while ago that the omniscient AI that Zuckerberg wields with impunity, that has access to all of the world's knowledge, or like basically the entire planet's social media information and their relationships and their activities and this and that. I mean, obviously I'm not suggesting that you know, we should use it because I'm too much of a good boy and that would be evil, and I would never suggest such an evil and horrible thing.
No,
but
not you, of course not. Not you would never suggest it to be inputted into some like crazy authoritarian regime with some utilitarian purpose. Like that would never happen.
Right. But that could be a great source of data for scientific research, if you see what I'm saying, if all else fails, and that could be sort of the final nail in the coffin to the blue pill and red pill theories and the vindication of the black pill. Like,
oh my god. Well, yeah, but that's the thing though. The reason that it's those people, like the people with the fucking data, like they want to perpetuate the system, right? Like they don't want that getting out. It's like it's what Alison Tiemann calls disruptive social technology, and that's probably the most accurate use of language I've ever heard. Like in all of the history of humanity, is when Alison Tiemann referred to red pillism basically in general as destructive social technology. That's That's it. That's the law of identity right there. Bam. A is A, and the red pill is disruptive social technology.
What do you mean by the red pill? Like, is there a specific proposition you're talking about?
I would actually, I'm gonna go circular, alright? So you're gonna have to endure that, but, basically,
Okay.
I would define the red pill as socially disruptive technology, and a thing is red pilled to the exact degree that it fits that definition. So something that's like kind of halfway there, right, is like halfway there, right? And the measurement, the criterion for it being pure red pill, is disruptive social technology. Although I suppose by that definition, the black pill is the real red pill. But you layer enough red tints on something, it becomes black eventually.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
I just want to acknowledge the chat here. Paulo mentioned visual novels as the male equivalent of the female romance novels. I don't believe that that's a good comparison just because it's not as popular. Like I think visual novels is for weebs, right? Like I don't like nobody knows about visual novels. Like maybe the homos do and like some women and weebs. I don't think like do men read visual novels? They watch porn, right? And like romance novels are women's porn. So I think my comparison makes more sense, but I don't know.
There's a nuance that I need to insert here that, I mean, you're already aware of this, but it's just worth mentioning. Romance novels are not women's porn. Like, young women don't read that shit. It's
Oh yeah, we
middle-aged.
discussed that. Yeah, it's old women's porn.
Yeah,
because young women
it's
just get whatever
old.
they want. Yeah.
Yeah, it's old women who are reminiscing about Chad, basically, is what it is. But of course, young women don't need that because they can just be doing it themselves anyway. So
Yeah, and then John Smith has, are men more visual? I don't remember. It makes sense. Yeah, no, men are considered more visual, more visually
No.
stimulated, aren't they? I thought that was
Well-
common knowledge. Is that they've done like studies and they show that men they're more like immediately aroused through like visual stimulus.
I mean, like, at this point, I'm not even sure what that means. Like, as far as what men and women are actually attracted to, women seem to care as much about men's looks, if not more, than men care about women's.
Maybe.
And, like,
I guess yeah. Maybe I
the-
never questioned it. But,
And, like,
well, but
the
like
literature...
women are turned on by like all kinds of weird shit. They're turned on by situations and objects and like whatever, and it's like amorphous and like makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah. And I mean, even those novels, that they're using the novels to elicit a visual story in their heads, like, just because they're using their imagination. I mean, I guess it gets you into kind of a semantic argument, but, like, as you're reading something, you picture in your head what's going on. I mean, otherwise, I guess they would just write it, the novels are obviously meant to provoke some sort of visual response, otherwise it would just be sort of, they would all be a sentence long, it would just be, like, cliff notes. Same with,
Yeah,
like, novel...
that's a good point, right? Because so much of writing, it's like to inspire like an illustration in your head, not so much like a sensation of like a smell or whatever. Although I remember reading The Hobbit, and my biggest takeaway was like I'm so fucking hungry from these descriptions of food. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Red
George
Raptor
R.
said I
Martin
should
novel
read his
was
comment.
supposed to-
He said men are very visual when it comes to attraction. Women are very visual too, but they have a lot of extra steps and criteria for what is a worthy male, and that seems consistent with what I saw. But what I'm going based off of is like I remember hearing it as like a trope like in high school, so I don't know like what particular like research they did or whatever. But
Yeah, I mean, you never know, but, like, what he said stands to reason, like, when they did
Yeah.
those, so it depends really on the social environment that you're in. I'm guessing that in East Asian countries, catcalling or wolf whistling, we call it here, probably, I'm just imagining that it isn't something that really happens ever, because they're more socially reserved that way, and how common it is for anybody to do it will depend on how socially reserved the environment that you're in is. Like, if you go to New York where it's filled with rowdy Hispanics and blacks and stuff, obviously it'll be a different sort of reception. But that notwithstanding those other factors, it seems like if you're in an area where the men actually do it, you can be just sort of like an average woman, or not even average, just a woman basically in public, and elicit a certain level of attention like that. Whereas like they did this response video to the stupid feminist video where they had that woman go around New York for hours and record herself getting catcalled or whatever. And most of it
she
was just
circled the same couple of blocks, and like half a dozen black people
Yeah.
were the ones calling at her. It took
And a
like
lot of
10
it-
hours to create like a 10-minute video or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of it was just them saying good morning and stuff. Like, it was fairly innocuous comments. But anyway, like the point is, like, you can be an average woman, and in a certain social environment you can elicit this kind of attention, whereas for a man you have to be like model tier pretty much. Like, they did a response to that video, some, I don't know, male issues interested people or adjacent people, I guess, did a response to it where they had a guy basically perform the same procedure, and he got a similar kind of attention from women. I think it was in the opposite end of the country, like LA or something, and the women actually did make sexual comments and stuff at him. So, but he was actually a model, so that's the point. As a woman, you can just be average and get this sort of attention. For a man, you have to be like top tier. It's not because the women are more moral or something that they don't do it as much. It's just that they have higher standards.
Yeah, well, and speaking of which, speaking of women with high standards, I want to acknowledge Claire in the chat here, because Claire, of course, is a champion of traditionalism and restoring the patriarchy, right? And so Claire, we're kind of there's a soft theme of this stream where we're going to be shitting on traditionalism a lot, because honestly, like, too many people in the red pill sphere give it a little bit more weight than it's worth. So this is something that we have like a constant argument about. But yeah, I don't know if either of us really have any hope that like our complaining about it is going to fix anything. It's more of just like being at peace with that which is reality and speaking what we think is the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she says whinging, and like I can understand why she's saying that. Like, my voice right now probably doesn't help. Not exactly on top form, but excuse me. The word whinging implies that I'm like emotionally invested in it, and I'm not.
Your voice sounds pretty emotionally like detached. Like it's a very neutral voice. You have the voice of a scientist. Like it.
Yeah, I'm not emotionally invested in it, though, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
I just
you
view
could
it.
be a lot less neutral, I think. So I don't. And the thing is like so I'm a little bit whiny, right? But like I'm obviously gay. So, like, if I'm complaining about women, it's more of just, like outrage over the reality. It's not like that. I don't want anything from them. I'm not really that personally invested. Like, my life isn't going to change that much one way or another. I just think it's, like, ridiculous that women basically get away with fucking murder and, like, nobody cares. And, like, I'm shocked and outraged, but also in like awe. And to me, there's even a humorous element to it that like this is the reality, and it's so ludicrously lopsided that like it just needs to be stated. And like maybe this is the first step in a thing, right? I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, it's a fucking stream, right? It's a stream. Like. Believe it or not, you don't save the world by like sitting in your room talking on the internet, right? Like, people have too high standards for a fucking stream. A stream is like, some kind of entertainment, something to listen to while you're playing a video game or whatever. Some way to maybe have a community, maybe have a discussion, a back and forth or whatever. Maybe go over some current events. Maybe it's like a diary, whatever the fuck, right? It's not life-changing shit all the time, It's not saving the goddamn world.
Yeah.
I asked if you're gay too, which you're not gay.
No, but It occurred to me as well recently that just similar on this topic, like the term gynocentrism was coined as a phrase, I think, to well, it was because we needed a word to describe the common threads that exist between traditionalism and feminism. You could think of them as sort of the post-industrial form of gynocentrism, that's feminism, and then the pre-industrial form, which is traditionalism. And the common threads to both of them are the deferral of resources and social liabilities from females to males. And the resources part takes on a different meaning in the post-industrial context because it isn't really about material provisioning anymore. It's about more abstract concepts. But I guess if you had to choose between the two, traditionalism in the modern context, that is, if you had to choose one or the other of them, entering into a relationship with a traditionalist woman is superior to being with a feminist woman, I guess, because it does at least have the vague suggestion of reciprocity, even if it isn't defended by law, because of all the anti-male laws that people in these circles usually complain about. But so there's that. There's the aspect of reciprocity, but it's not clear if the traditionalist value system still exists in any meaningful sense, except maybe outside a few, well, basically the third world and I guess hardcore religious conservative communities. Islam, the Amish maybe, etc. That's the only place it still meaningfully exists.
Yeah, and I'm just like I don't know. I'm 0% in favor of any idea of like restoring or embracing traditionalism because I just see it as male negrodom. It's a system. Like when feminists say patriarchy hurts men too, they are 1000% correct for all the wrong reasons. Patriarchy was a system that basically made women fucking royalty. Every single woman is royalty under patriarchy. And it's fucking bullshit. Honestly, complete fucking bullshit. I hate it when people talk about restoring the patriarchy as though that's like going to lead to men being like revered or honored or cared about or loved or appreciated in any fucking way. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So fucking
An
stupid.
interesting
I
glitch
want
just
something
occurred.
better. Like I want a system where people are actually I want like meritocracy. That's the actual patriarchy. That when people say patriarchy, what they're really looking for is meritocracy, right? Like there you're gonna actually see men have the power and the privilege and the appreciation that is owed to them for their hard work and for their sacrifice. When people say they want traditionalism and they want patriarchy, what they really want is female entitlement. What they want is proto-feminism. What they want is the same bullshit that produces stupid bitches like Tommy Lauren, who is, in fact, not a trad thought. She is the avatar of the female gender role under patriarchy. That is what you're gonna get 1000% of the time, every time. I don't care if it's like if you're in China or if it's the Amish. I don't care where it is. Literally anywhere. That's what you're gonna get. All roads lead to goddamn Tommy Lauren, and you can sit there and complain about how you think she's so stupid and whatever and blah blah blah. No, that's exactly what you're gonna get every single goddamn motherfucking time you support so-called patriarchy and traditionalism. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. Also, I'm glad that I was able to verify Korea Man remove those posts himself, because if that was one of my wrenches, I would have been very disappointed. But wait, Korea Man, I thought you lived in China. Why is UPS like even relevant? That doesn't make any sense. He must be in America, right? That's the only place UPS delivers, I think. I don't know. I don't use regular mail because it's too complicated. Did Lauren Southern marry Tim Pool, the half Korean guy? Okay, Tim Pool is not half Korean. He is Korean by a fucking one drop rule. That fucker is white. He is white. He is as white as Jared Taylor. He's
I think
white.
it was his grandma, as I understand it. So
His what? His happa grandma? His happa grandma?
so, something like that. He's probably more Korean than Sargon is black, but that's a low bar since Sargon completely lied about that, so...
That was so funny. Sargon levels of black is one of my favorite terms. So
Yeah.
Claire, we're all on the same page as far as evolutionary psychology and the fact that that results in like female privilege and the fact that like they're the limiting factor in reproduction. Everybody gets that. We're all on the same page. Totally makes sense, right? Now, the fact that that's taken as a moral justification for the fact that women just wield that power with impunity and also ignorance, right? There's absolutely no recognition whatsoever of egg privilege, right? It's literally the moral equivalent of saying, oh, well, due to evolution, men are bigger and stronger than women, therefore, like, when men like beat and rape women, well, fuck, that's just evolution, because like evolution made men bigger and stronger, so fuck it, right? Like that's the difference in moral character we're talking about, right? Like the fact that men have like laws and ideas and codes of ethics and honor where they say, hey, like even though we're bigger than stronger than women and we could totally just like strong arm like rape them and make them be our slaves and do whatever the fuck we want, let's not do that because we have empathy. Now, if women had this level of empathy, they'd say, hey, so we understand that due to evolution, we have these eggs and it gives us this bargaining power, which is like insane and unconscionable. Let's like maybe think about using this in a remotely responsible way. And it's like, no, doesn't fucking happen because men don't hold women to a standard and women don't hold themselves to a standard. And then when women call for us to return to traditionalism and to restore the patriarchy, what they're saying is, us as women, we can't be expected to achieve a basic level of morality, and therefore we need men to do it for us by force. Which is like what you're basically advocating for. It's not a question of patriarchy versus like matriarchy. If you want a true meritocracy, it's going to be beyond patriarchy. It's going to be a super patriarchy. Like it's anyway, I hope I made a coherent point there. Is that like Claire, like fundamentally we have like a similar foundation, but I think that Claire, like you don't quite fully appreciate the degree to which men have issues and problems that are not being addressed, and these problems have never been addressed in all of human history. And if we're going to talk about having anything in place that prioritizes this in any way, it's going to mean thinking outside of the box towards something totally new and totally radical.
Yeah. Do you think maybe your conception of traditionalism is a bit narrow? I mean, couldn't you characterize...
I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of different societies all throughout all... Like, so we say traditionalism, and, like, that could mean... Yeah, like thousands of different cultures all over the place, and there's different conceptions and forms of it or whatever, but, like...
It was the thing about force, you said, like, do women really want to be... That's, like, it seems almost like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? They want to be forced.
No, but I'm talking about from Claire's point of view. She wants secular Coranism.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she wants, you know,
right.
And
okay,
the thing that I love about the one thing me, Claire, and Jen all agree upon is that all government is theocratic, right? But then our point of departure is that they think that like, okay, it's all theocratic, therefore like religion is necessary. And I think that that's wrong. I think that we had this debate, and I think that the atheists like completely like push the shit in of all the theists, and it's like embarrassingly one-sided, but like they have no grace in winning, and therefore like people look at that and they think like, oh no, I want to have a religion. I don't know. I'm not the kind of person to win a debate gracefully. I can own that. UPS does international shipping. Okay. Did you hear about Aquila?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, nobody knows who she is in our circles except for the fact that she's like a basic bitch, like black woke SJW, and Sargon clipped one of her videos like years ago. Years ago, after Donald Trump won, she made a video talking about how she was so surprised that Hillary didn't win, and Sargon, to make fun of her, like took some clips from her video and then re-uploaded it with like a different name, right? And she decided to copyright strike him, right? She decided to call it copyright and to like sue him over copyright. And Sargon was like, this is fair use. This is like the most fair use of like anything. This is like a stupid claim. He was much more diplomatic, much kinder than I'm being right now, right? Anyway, so she pushed this as far as she possibly could, and like it's super goddamn funny. I'll just give like a summary of the whole thing. Like she has her lawyer, right? And the entire time she's complaining like Carl Benjamin is a white supremacist Nazi and he hates black women and he's a misogynist and he took my video, he stole it. This is copyright infringement and he's using it to make money on his YouTube channel and I'm entitled to that and how dare he? And this is just another example of white men taking things from black BIPOCs and blah blah blah. Like they make this whole thing, and then her lawyer's trying to like tell her like, okay, like your claim is copyright, like we can't like you being black and him being white isn't really part of like the law. Like either you have a copyright claim or you don't. I can make your copyright claim, but like we can't talk about fucking like race and gender or whatever. And she's like, oh my god, you're an incompetent lawyer because you're not addressing the real dimensions of the whole thing, which is I'm a black woman and I'm being stolen from by a white man, blah, 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 right? So she like alienates her lawyer and she's like, oh my god, he was so incompetent, blah, blah, blah. And like at times the judge is like, hey, your claim doesn't look very good and like this is getting really expensive and like you might have to pay the legal fees for this. You might want to consider like fucking like calming the fuck down. And she's like, oh my god, no, I'm definitely gonna win. And the total like sunken cost fallacy of it all, it's just like absolutely ridiculous. So it went on and on and on for many years, and Sargon was able to win eventually in the end. And not only did he win, but like he applied to have the legal fees paid, and now this bitch has to pay Sargon like tens of thousands of dollars. Just because, and it's a stupid story, right? But the reason I wanted to mention it is because these woke motherfuckers, they live in another world where they think they're entitled to everything and where they think they're above everything and where they think that the fact that whoever they're attacking is racist, they think that it entitles them to get whatever they want. Like because racist. Like, because racist, she can make a copyright claim. Literally, because racist, you can murder someone. Because racist, you can mug someone. Because racist, anything. And it's like this narrow, stupid, basic bitch morality that they all engage in. And I love the fact that for once, the fucking powers that be did a little bit of justice. And this bitch is gonna have to fucking pay for it. But, like, okay, so her comment, she said, hey, if you follow me on Twitter, you may notice that I'm being harassed by a bunch of white men today. That's because I sued white supremacists for stealing my content on YouTube in 2016. While there was no additional commentary, only cuts in order, we felt that using more than 20% of my work was unacceptable. Keep in mind, the express purpose of this white supremacist was to arouse his horde of 4chan white supremacists into harassing me. After all, this was a video of me earnestly saying I was surprised Hillary lost, because I was. For the past 4 years, this person has made racist and sexist harassing content about me, Trey Melvin, Cat Black, Cheska Lay, Francesca Ramsey, and more, for the purpose of getting his followers to harass us. He was banned from VidCon when they forged badges and yelled over us on panels. Then Carl Benjamin, the person I'm referring to, ran for office in England and was so repugnant that he said his female opponent was too ugly for him to rape. When the police which began a police investigation and he lost. This is well documented. So like this whole thing, the way it's written, is like totally vapid and stupid. Like, he lost the election, has nothing to do with a police investigation, and we all know the whole Jess Phillips thing, right? He said, I wouldn't even rape you as a joke because it would provoke her into saying that was a rape threat, which was bait that she took because she's fucking basic and retarded, right? Like, it's fucking Looney Tunes. The whole thing is Looney Tunes and bonkers and stupid. Anyway. Ugh. This was just like, I couldn't resist commenting on it.
I tend to agree.
Right? I just over and over comment, whites were. I love how she's like 4 fucking tweets into this rant, and she mentions Carl Benjamin. By the way, that's the person I'm referring to, who I call the white supremacist like 16 times in 3 tweets, right? And then she says the purpose of him making videos was to get us to get people to harass me. No, bitch. The purpose was for him to get subs and likes and views, right, on his YouTube channel. That's what he fucking does, to get money. The purpose was to get money. He doesn't care if people fucking harass you. He prefers if people don't harass you, like, because it gives you ammo, right? Anyway. So he has to pay $38,000. Anyway.
Wow.
So funny.
By the way, Korea Man, if you're watching, do you mind just logging into Discord briefly and checking some Korean sentences I sent you? Don't worry, like, I'm not gonna expect you to be a full-time tutor or anything. I know that would be horribly taxing, but just most foreign language teachers are autistic leftists, and, like, I'm learning Korean, so, because I was bored, basically, so I decided to learn an obscure language, so, yeah.
You know, one way you could learn it is, you could learn the lyrics to K-pop, and then the translations.
I'm using like a specific language learning website that you've got to pay money for it. It's very good. But
there you go.
Yeah, that's a slight digression.
Let's see. I'm gonna find another thing to talk about. God, I have so many goddamn tabs open. Some of these are just stupid. Let's see. Oh, this was really funny. My friend sent this to me. Like, because the article doesn't mention what the word in question is. So I had to, like, look up a separate article to figure out what the fuck they were referring to. And he was like, what do they mean? This isn't intelligible. This was, an Amazon site advertises shoes using a racial slur. They had listed, the color as the N-word. Like, was the color, was the N-word. And, like, I guess, like, thousands of people fucking complained over it, which, like, honestly, if you complained about it, like, I say round them up. Just round them up. If you're one of these people who complained about the N-word being used to describe a color, sorry, that's what it describes. It describes a color and a set of behaviors. Maybe it should be like a lazier shoe, if that's what you're going to use to describe it. Sorry, that was bad. It should be a shoe that, like, holds a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Then you can use that word to describe it. Anyway, like,
Yep.
third parties that... like, there's no story here, right? But, okay, wait, no, there was something, okay. This one is a potential hate crime hoax because there is a little bit of an interesting thing that happened here. Because, let me see. The item was discovered by David Lammy, the Labour MP for Tottenham, who found the page while shopping for shoes. Just buying broge? What the fuck is this word? Broges?
Rogues.
Brogue? So it's
Rogues.
shoe. Shoe with a low heel. Okay. So shoes. He said it tonight. It leads to this racist microaggression. Is it 2020 or 1720? So he wrote it on Twitter, appealing to Amazon to take it down. So he just puts him on blast immediately on social media.
Yeah.
But like, let me see.
David
'Cause
Lemmy
apparently-
he's known for switch cycling between different identities depending on what's situationally convenient to him. Like, so one day
Oh,
he's
is he
British.
mixed? He's one of these mixed
No,
people.
he's just black. He's just black, but it's
Yeah, he's
it's
very
like
black.
yeah, it's like one day he's describing himself as a British person, and then the next day he's not British, he's African, and he's chastising the British about the empire and this and that.
Are you sure
the
he's
usual
not Jewish?
Well,
Sorry, that was a joke. That was a joke because that's a joke about the Jews. That they do
probably he probably has connections to Jews.
that. Maybe
Some of them being
He's got
in
the
the
nose for it, right? The nose knows.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's as far into that territory as I think I'm allowed to go. But
Okay.
those are jokes, just jokes, people, just jokes. But yeah, no, apparently because I just saw what was it? Yeah, Mr. Lambert's discovery comes after he was subjected to racist abuse online, right? And that was the part of it where I thought, this seems like bullshit, because what are the odds, right? Like, oh, you're cyberbullied over race online and it's totally unprovoked or whatever, right? And like, then this happens and you're the one to discover it. Like, you know what I mean? It's really not passing a sniff test. Like, it really seems like hate crime hoax to me. Maybe I'm just a little bit tinfoil hatty, a little bit too conspiratorial, but I just want to throw that out there. But let me see. Like, okay, so in this article they linked, like the first evidence they give is him retweeting something, and this person doesn't even. Oh, they're referencing him in here. Okay, so let's see. I'm sorry you faced this awful racist abuse. Blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. I haven't read this part before. This was recent. So someone called him the N-word and said he should hang from a lamppost. Am I so radical for like believing we can just live in a world where people can say like mean things on the internet and like we can just move on with our lives?
In 2020.
Yeah, I guess I'm a fucking crazy person. Because here's the thing, like, anyone can write that. Literally anyone and their sister can write a mean, horrible, hateful, terrible thing, right? And, like, if you are shook by it, and it changes your life and ruins your fucking day, then, like, you've just given literally anyone with a fucking Twitter account, anyone with an alternative Twitter account, right? Even a fucking banned person can just, like, make a Gorilla Mail account, make a sock puppet shitty egg Twitter account, and just say these same things at you, right? So literally anyone with a fucking internet connection has that power over you. And, like, if I talk about, like, you know, let's take that power away from people and let's empower people to not be fucking quivering, worthless pussies all the fucking time. Like, apparently I'm the bad guy because I'm enabling hate for saying that, like, we should tolerate hatred because that tolerance gives us the strength to endure and to prevail. And it feels so gay that, like, you even have to say that, right? Because obviously he doesn't fucking care. He's not hurt by, like, somebody calling him the N-word and saying he should hang from a lamppost. He's looking at that, and he's rubbing his palms together and saying, ooh, good, I can play the victim and I can get fucking sympathy, right? Like, that's the cynical view. That, or,
Yes.
like, he actually is that much of a quivering pussy and then uses it. Which, like, I don't know which interpretation is even less charitable. I don't know what's worse, being evil or being just, like, that weak. I don't know. I don't even care to read the rest of this article, because it's just like that, like, this is your smoking gun and someone said you should hang from a lamppost. fuck it. I mean, who cares?
And he's a politician who has
Hasn't said
security.
word. Yeah, he has security. He has some fucking security. Who cares? Man.
Yeah, and there are those of us who can't afford private security to protect us from Antifa and from marauding gangs of blacks. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, those are riots of peace.
yeah.
The riots of peace. Did you hear about the LA mayor threatening to turn off water power after people in Beverly Hills had a party?
Yes. I saw a headline on Twitter about it. What was the context to it? Was that literally it?
I think that's literally. I haven't read it either. I don't really know. I just saw that that liberal hammer had retweeted it, and I love to. Okay, so on Facebook, I'm like the worst fucking person because I love going onto his posts and just like kicking shit up because like a bunch of homosexuals all follow his shit, and like I love pushing their buttons and just like complaining about how just like shrieking and hysterical and womanish all of his homosexuals are. And then I ask him about it and I'm just like, hey Kevin, like, can you control your homosexuals please? And like probably like 20% of my Facebook bans are because one of his homos like complained about me being mean to him or whatever. And he thinks it's funny. I think he thinks it's hilarious. But like he doesn't know what to do with me. So it's a fun like game. But God, what was the last thing? I don't even remember.
It's interesting how when you're describing them in a contemptuous way, they're homosexuals, and if you're not describing them in a contemptuous way, they're gay or some other term.
No, exactly. Because the term homosexual, it's like very scientific, right? It's like you're encountering some otherworldly fucking creature, and you're like with a notebook, you're like analyzing their behavior, and you're like, like why are they like this, right? Like it's like a mystery. It's like they're an alien fucking species, right? Like.
Yep.
But yeah, but it's also in some ways it's just. But I like calling it because they don't like being called that.
On a slightly different topic, did you enjoy reading Curtis Yarvin, and did you read anything outside Patchwork? I think you mentioned you did.
Sorry, what was that? About what?
You read Patchwork. Did you read anything else from Moldbug?
Okay, so that same channel had a bunch of shit. It had a bunch of like audio, and I was just listening to all of them.
Right. Did you listen to the one on Rhodesia? That one was fun.
Yeah, I did listen to that one. That one was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really funny, but I'm like trying to like maybe I'm just retarded, but like I need him to just like clearly, plainly, incontrovertibly state like some basic premises, right? Because like there's enough like jokes and irony kind of laced throughout the whole thing that at times you can like take a step back and be like, well, what does he really mean? And I feel like most people like you have this like chronological continuity, right? And the implicit bias is that like you tend to assume that people have heard the things you've said before, right? But it's something that you learn like when you like me, for example, like I put shit on the internet constantly of shit that I think, and then people will say things, and then I'll be like, how could you possibly think that? I made a video 2 years ago about how I clarified this, and then I'm like, oh wait, this is the internet. Like of course they didn't hear the thing I said 2 fucking years ago, right? But like your natural bias is to assume that like people hear the conversation from the beginning, right? They don't show up at the end. But like the nature of the internet is the fucking opposite. People show up at the last minute, and then like you're constantly tasked with like restating your basic premises over and over again. And like I feel like Patchwork, it does not stand alone. It 0% stands alone. As a standalone thing, it's an absolute fucking failure because you have to like know his basic standpoint for it to make any fucking sense. He at no point does he just like straight up state this is what patchwork means. He doesn't ever fucking tell you. It's just like in a patchwork this happens and that happens and it's like this and it's like that and blah blah blah. And it's like you never fucking told me what it is basically before you started describing it. And like he's like painting a picture and painting like around it, but I'm sitting here like, this could be a thing in so many contexts, you know? So I don't know what to fucking do with it.
I mean, there is. I just found it. There's. Oh, hang on. Is my audio still working? Yeah. Okay. There's a bit in chapter 1 where he says, I'll just read it now. The basic idea of patchwork is that as the crappy governments we inherited from history are smashed, they should be replaced by a global spider web of tens, even hundreds of thousands of sovereign and independent mini-countries, each governed by its own joint stock corporation without regard to the residents' opinions. If residents don't like the government, their government, then they can and should move. So that's it.
That sounds familiar. I remember hearing that. It's a terrible fucking definition. Sovereign mini governments, that means nothing. Like, it's such a nonsense term. It sounds like what he's describing, that's consistent with Agora. He's describing Agora, basically. And I think this might be a situation where he's like, he's reaching the same room through a different door.
Yeah. I don't think he likes describing himself as an anarchist, but from what I can gather, he's basically a kind of Hoppian anarchist.
Yeah, well, and I wonder though, right? Because people would consider me to be non-anarchist if I advocate for any group performing a function which is traditionally considered a government function. Then they say, oh,
right.
Well, that's just a government. And I'm like, okay, like...
Well, that's how he resolves that semantic issue, or that's how he squares that circle. Like, that's what he's calling government. Private government, I think he uses that phrase at some point.
Yeah, and that's kind of the interpretation I lean towards also, but I'm never sure, right? I guess that's what's missing is like a strict definition of government. Because if you define government by like its results and its stated goals, then that which is called government in the common parlance is actually non-government. Like the established governments, the government established by like a fucking constitution, that's actually anarchy. The United States of America as a government is an anarchy, and it is a threat to that which governs, which is like the market and charity and goodwill and anything virtuous or honorable about humanity.
Yeah.
God, I got into a fucking Twitter feud the other day with some kind of libertarian.
I saw.
I couldn't. Oh my God. Oh, I have this thing on the screen now. This video, which is just an advertisement for eugenics. The baby's kind of cute though, like in a pug way, but you know that fucker's just gonna have a life of suffering.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is pretty evil.
Yeah, fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
But sorry, I got distracted because I'm like I had zero sleep, so I'm like my mind is just like a fucking wasteland. Let me see what was I going at? What were we talking about? Well, so the thing with I just want to talk about the stupid fucking Twitter feud. This fucker comes out there and says, "Oh, the reason libertarians never achieve anything is because they always fucking infight," and it's like you have people who infiltrate, who are non-libertarians, and then I'm sitting here like, hey, like, go away, you're not one of me, like, you don't think any of the things I think, and then people turn around and say, wow, you're so disagreeable, fuck you for not compromising, and I'm like, the fucker broke into my house, I don't have to fucking, why, like, compromise with a burglar, it's like, that's retarded, like, no, they should leave. Right? The reason we have the term libertarian is because we used to be called liberals, and then the liberals stole it, and we're like, okay, fine, you can have this house. We're going to go make a new house, and it's happening all over again, and now it's like, oh, we'll just compromise with your burglars. And it's like, no, we're going to leave the libertarian house, and now we're going to have the fucking Agora house, and then fuckers are going to be coming in here saying like, oh, well, if you want to promote agorism, you need to vote for the Libertarian Party. And it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, no. Like, we're allowed to have standards and principles, and, like, how dare people circle around and fucking blame people like me for, like, holding the line literally anywhere, right? And say, oh, well, if all the libertarians would just agree and vote for Joe Jorgensen, then we'd have a third party and it would be viable, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, literally anything. You could say, you know what? The problem with rape is all the rapists, and if we could just get all the rapists to agree that non-rape is preferable, then we would just solve that problem. Like, no shit, Sherlock. That equation works for fucking anything. You just say, oh, if we could just get all of the whatever to agree with a thing, then the thing will happen. And it's like, yeah, you're one person. You're one person all the time, no matter what you think would happen if literally all of the rest of everyone agreed with you. It's just like, oh, you know, I really like this thing. If only everybody else would just do what I want to do specifically, then everything would work. So therefore, it's everyone else's fucking fault. And, like, that's literally the level of reasoning. And just, like, dealing with these people is insufferable. And this fucker's trying to tell me that the Freemasons who set up the United States Constitution are fucking honorable people. And it's like, no, half of those motherfuckers were croniest fucking cunts decades before FDR was a thing, right? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, well, how is this going to help me when the feds break in my windows to blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, bitch, better, cheaper windows are going to fucking protect you better than your stupid fucking vote. And you're telling me to fucking give that up for your stupid vote? Vote for George Jorgensen, who fucking endorsed BLM because she's a basic fucking bitch? God. And I get all these notifications from the Jew who posted the post liking everything. Not because he's a Jew. I'm just noticing a pattern. I give a bone to Ayn Rand, right? I got a couple of eggs in each basket, right? Just saying, it's annoying because you get a million notifications and they can't justify fucking anything.
The pushing back against what he's calling infighting, I think it's probably a coping mechanism whereby he can pretend that libertarianism is a more popular ideology than it is, if you see what I'm saying. Like, if you just expand the definition of libertarianism, then suddenly libertarianism's popular, but then it's not libertarian in principle anymore, so...
Yeah, exactly. You expand it, right, and you say, well, look, now it's more popular. And it's like, yeah, but at what cost? And the cost is that the only way you're going to make it viable and popular is by having it sell its soul to the devil. And it literally is that. It's literally that exact same conundrum, that exact same situation. It's literally the parable of selling your soul to the devil. And I don't know why it's a hard sell. Like, I think what it is, I think is when you live in a society that has a democratic government, it biases people into thinking that that the majority is correct. It biases people into arguments that are, you know, ad populum arguments, and it's like no, like most people will say, yeah, I think most people are dumb, and it's like, okay, therefore, the things that are true are gonna, if not tend to be overall, like, but at the very least, very often, it's gonna be very unpopular, right? And most people, did you see Edward Dutton posted a video about the psychology of the midwit?
No.
It was very interesting. I thought it made a lot of sense. I know that at times he's kind of questionable, but this one I thought seemed to be like on the money. And he basically talks about how, like, people who are of that midwit level IQ, like, they're socially adept, and what they're able to do is to identify the political and social and cultural positions that are successful and dominant in society, and then they emulate those, right? And then it creates these feedback loops where they then get into positions of power and academia and authority, and then they then, like, start to select for themselves, right? And, like, he also talks about how, like, people who are like very unintelligent, they tend to be less trusting, right? Because they can't conceive of the difference between, like, someone who's genuine and reliable versus someone who's not. So for them, like, they select for, like, being just generally very distrusting. Whereas, like, if you're a midwit, you sort of have a capacity for telling, and therefore you're more trusting, but then this leads to you trusting authority.
So what happened is you had this midwit infiltration of academia, and then people start to see all academia as like a PhD or whatever, and then like people with a PhD in anything then become seen as credible to like pontificate about literally any subject, whereas the people who are above the midwit status, they tend to be autists and they can't socially network. And like if you're someone trying to like hire people, whether it's in academia or just in a company, you're gonna prefer people who are like smart enough to be competent but socially also there, right? So everything is just set up in such a way that it causes the midwits to gain this supremacy at the expense of even themselves and all the rest of society. And like it made like perfect fucking sense. And honestly, I think that's a lot of what's in play with this like appeal to what's popular, is these are like mid-witted libertarians who like they perceive that on the social and political and cultural landscape you want your views to be popular, and therefore they start to believe and adopt the popular view. But what they don't seem to appreciate is the degree to which communism, cronyism, socialism, all that bullshit has been part of these so-called libertarian, so-called small government systems from the very fucking beginning.
Yeah. Have you seen those memes where it's a bell curve and you have the low IQ midwit and the high IQ point of view on a particular subject all there together? And like there's one on academia basically, or just trusting sources, where the low IQ person is like, you know, I trust what I see. That's basically how they feel. And then the midwit's like, have you got a source for that? And then the high IQ person says, I don't trust modern academia because I know how it works. So there's this phenomenon whereby the very low IQ people and the very high IQ people sometimes converge, but for different reasons. And then the midwits are the ones who are more prone to different heuristics, like just unquestioningly believing authority. Like
you know what's
academic.
funny? I know I've heard of this meme because Jen mentioned it to me, and I hadn't seen it, so I like totally didn't get what she was talking about, and like that sounds really funny. But
Yeah.
like it's also a meme that's like totally unfunny, because I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's, I don't know, I guess it's kind of hopeful in a sense, but
Hope?
there's
Did you
some
really
hope.
just say hope? Lol.
Hope. Is hope the new cope?
Yeah.
Hope is the original cope, isn't it?
Well, hope
Let me
is
see
cope.
here. I want to catch up with our chat. Tim Pool went crazy with anti-China hysteria recently. I mean, hasn't everyone? I think it's so ridiculous. And I'm all for people criticizing China, but like, do it with a foundation, right? Like, do it when you're not in a fucking glass house, and like everywhere I look, it's just glass houses all around. So like, I'll hear sweet fuck all about how you think it's so horrible that China is like forcing the Muslims to eat bacon or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's see. Isn't the N-word a color expression? Negro. Yeah, I think if you give the R a single roll, then you're able to say negro. But if you say negro, then Susan has a problem. I wish that it was like, in Spanish, it was like nigger, right, instead of negro. I wish it was closer to like the proper N-word. That would be great. I ask for so
Yeah.
little from reality. Why don't I get the things I want? Let's see. It's only offensive in
That's-
Spanish when you use it, the diminutive, by adding ito or ita. Negrita. The little black. I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. I don't know what that was in reference to. Maybe I was talking about Aquila at the time. Let's see. Successionism to the logical maximum. Yeah, so I think you say succession. I think you mean secession. And that's what I say is secession down to the individual is one way I like talk about bridging the gap between government and anarcho-capitalism. Is essentially we're talking about a secession down to the individual. And in theory, that's a minarchist path. Is you have like secession down to a state level, down to a county level, then down to a city level, then down to a town level. And then eventually you're dealing with atomized, small enough structures such that like these can kind of phase out in favor of just free market equivalents of the same thing. Libertarian doesn't work for too long because you still need women to reproduce. Yeah, because female libertarians like don't exist. It's like sad. There's no libertarian women, so they cannot breed more libertarians. It's a different species. Nope. See, is that why they're incompetent at sorting? They think brown is a color. He's just bitching about the UPS, which is really funny. One shouldn't start off with organization. One should start off with the material and land they need to set up some libertarian community. Yeah, well, the thing is like libertarianism is kind of like MGTOW. Like, you shouldn't ask for all the rest of reality to give you permission to be free. You should just do what you can do for yourself as an individual. You know, and like, fuck society. There's no N-word in Spanish. Yeah, that's a flaw. My Chinese friend is telling me that too. He's like, we don't have an N-word here. And I was trying to explain to him, like there really is no N-word. It's conditioned. It's a social conditioning thing. If we didn't have the N-word in English, they would just choose some other word to stigmatize and make the worst word. Right? It's the same thing with the euphemism treadmill. Which was a phrase I heard Random Cam use, specifically to describe the word retard, right? Because that was a euphemism for mongoloid, right? And they're like, oh, we can't call people mongoloid because that's kind of like racist, so we'll call them retard because that means like slower. Because like, you know, we're not going to say they're incompetent; they're just a little bit slower. So a retard is like a nice euphemism for that. And they're like, oh no, it's mentally challenged, and it's like.
Yeah, and then I think...
I don't know why are they mentally challenged, or... Yeah, and now it's special. Yeah, special. It's like, it's just not... You can't win. And, like, it's so funny that I guess so few people can see the overall structure that's happening.
Since you were talking about the N-word, I heard a funny story. There was actually a black man who went to South Korea at some point, and... he got into some incident with a woman on a train because he thought she was using a racial slur with her friend or something, but she actually wasn't. So here's what happened. In Korean, like if you want to say you in casual language, that's ni, and then there's another grammatical
you say
element.
Nigga. Yeah, those Korean fuckers, they say nigga all the time. It's
Niga,
like a proposition, yeah, for like that. Or you said for like you?
Yeah. Yeah. So that can sometimes cause confusion because especially when they say it quickly, it sounds a bit like the N-word. And they do it incessantly, like in casual speech. So.
Yeah, they nigga. I know that from being fucking 13. And I was listening to Bo Kwan and listening to like an interview in Korean. Because I was obsessed, like fanatically. And I'm like, why do they say nigga? Why are these fuckers so racial? And it's like, oh, it's a different language. You know what? I'm gonna coin this now. We need to stop calling it the N-word. It's not the N-word. Yeah. It's the phoneme. It's the N phonemes.
It's even there's like another aspect to it that's even funnier. It's like
it's the N phoneme families. It's not even the specific phonemes. It's the N phoneme families. Yeah. That's how fucking far removed we are. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just had to get that off my chest because I'm like, tired and angry.
But like there are different ways that you address people in Korean depending on your social position, and that one's the casual one, pammal. So it's the one that you would use with like close friends, well, probably not family members actually, but that kind of thing. People that you know kind of well and are younger than you. You can use that term to refer to them. So it's even funnier because it's like the cozy, casual form of the language as opposed to like formal language.
And that's the one that's offensive, is the cozier one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, what is social justice if not like just inconvenient to people minding their own fucking business and like being comfortable?
Being comfortable.
Oh, good. Red Raptor found the meme you referenced and posted it in the server.
Oh, cool.
Now I finally know. Now I know. Jen referenced that like literally months ago, and I was like, I don't remember, or I haven't seen it. Anyway. This story I found was stupid. A black high schooler wanted to wear a face mask to his graduation that said Black Lives Matter, and they were like, you can't say that. And the New York Post, their headline was, Black teen forced to take off Black Lives Matter mask at graduation ceremony. And apparently there was somebody who wanted a Trump 2020 mask, which also wasn't allowed because they said you can't have a fucking message on your face. And it's hypocrisy, whatever, it's obvious. The reason I thought this was very interesting is because it goes back to that fucking Aquila story. People who support BLM, there's no such thing as an appeal to consistency for them. They literally think because their movement or their whatever is justified, the ends justify the means, and there's no fucking standard you can hold them to at all. And to some degree, I agree with that overall morality. I just think that their facts are wrong. If the claims they were making with the facts they were making were correct, I actually wouldn't really have a problem with that. But the facts aren't on their side, and it's like trivially obvious that these are men's issues and not race issues. Anyway, I don't know what else to add to that one. Also, apparently the black teen has like blonde hair, and that's cultural appropriation.
Yep.
Yep. This was another video. I've watched this video like 5 times.
Just
Brandon Adamson retweeted it and said there was a missed opportunity to pet a dog. I didn't see the dog. I don't know if he's making a joke. But this was Baked Alaska, I guess, got into a fight with some women and then tried to call for the bouncers to throw them out for attacking him. And I haven't listened to it with sound yet. I've just been watching it silently to try to figure out where the dog is. And I'm trying to figure out if Brandon Adamson is on some level of irony that I'm not appreciating. Because sometimes he is, but sometimes I'm just overthinking it and he literally just wants to tell us that he bought peas at Walmart and microwaved them.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's hard to know.
Just bought some peas.
Yeah, I just bought some peas. Going to McDonald's. Oh, I got a story like that. Shit. I went to McDonald's a few days ago, right? And guess what they had?
What?
Guess. It's the best thing at all of McDonald's. Guess.
I have no idea.
I'll give you a hint. Chicken nugget sauce. Chicken nugget sauce. I don't know if you know this. A year ago, I made a shitty fake mukbang video because there was tear gas, and I was like, that's sad. I'm going to cope by eating McDonald's. And I went out into the tear gas world, and everything was back to normal within an hour because it's Asia, and there's so many fucking people. They got lives to live. So they look out their window, they're like, looks like the gas is all gone, fuck it, right? And it was out and about again, it's just fucking normal, nothing happened. Immediate recovery, no one gives a shit. And I go to the McDonald's, and they had this special chicken nugget thing, and it came with an appetizer sampler of crazy sauces I've never fucking seen before that you can only get in Asia. And there was a Korean kimchi one. There was some weird buffalo one. Oh, there's the salted egg yolk one. But the absolute best one was the lemon aioli. They had a fucking lemon aioli sauce. And guess what? I went to McDonald's earlier this week, and they had the lemon aioli sauce, and I bought 10 of them extra. And before I left, I checked the bag to make sure they put the extra sauces in there, and they didn't. And I had to point to the receipt and say, nigga, lemon aioli sauce. And then, one of the managers had to explain to the person who was new, see this thing here that white people order sometimes? They order, extra sauce because they're fucking retards and degenerate. You have to, take all these extra sauces, and, he literally ordered more sauces than chicken nuggets that he has, right? So it's totally unintuitive and totally illogical. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, that's okay. I understand it's weird. That's why I checked. Because I know it's a weird thing to request. So I'm sitting on a pile of lemon aioli sauces, and yeah, now I can eat vegetables because I just dip vegetables in lemon aioli sauce. I can like cook things and it's like garbage, and I can eat like anything because I got the fucking lemon aioli sauce from McDonald's. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
If I was
You know,
Brandon Adamson, I would make a tweet and I would say, "Got some lemon aioli sauce. Got my McDonald's sauce. Got my McNugget sauce today. It was good. Gonna eat it later with some peas."
It's like a depressive realism to his tweets.
Yeah, I know that's the point, but I honestly don't even want to read that far into it. I just want to like read it as like he's legitimately like happy about it.
You know, in Korea, you can order a fried octopus from, I don't think it's from McDonald's, but like from some takeout places, you can order like an entire octopus, fried.
Oh yeah, that's where like it's like freshly dead and they pour the sauce on it and then it makes like the nerves in it like twitching or whatever. So it's like it's dancing
Oh,
and then people think
no,
it's still alive.
not that one. The one where it, like they cook it properly and it's fried up and everything. It actually looks alright, but...
Are you sure you don't want the one that one bitch tried to eat and it like tried to suck her face off?
Yeah, that makes me kind of squeamish watching it.
See, that one you watch it and you think it's funny, but then you see that like she's literally bleeding and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. That and
right
also...
by her eye too.
That and
It
also
sucked
the
her
fact
fucking
that...
eye out.
Yeah, one of its tentacles was perilously close to her eye.
Yeah.
Like that would have been fucking over. Seriously, she would have lost an eye easily.
Yeah, right. She would have been like almost down to above average male level SMV if she had lost an eye.
Oh wow, that's brutal.
Okay, let's watch this fucking Baked Alaska video, and I'm trying to find the dog. Let me know if you see the dog.
Okay.
It's like a bar fight. I wish that Baked Alaska would just rap. Said no one but me. Oh my god, it's not playing. Why is my internet doing this? Why do I have the hardest life? I'm gonna refresh this and see if it plays.
It's no great loss. By the way, just a reminder, Face is streaming in 10 minutes.
Oh, I know. I think we're making good time. I think I got to all the important things.
Yeah, seems
Okay,
like.
here's our...
What the fuck are you doing? Whoa. Yo! She just threw a dart at me! Keep her the fuck out! Dude, that is assault! She just threw a dart at me! Yeah, you did it! Yes, you did! You threw... She needs to leave. She threw a dart at me!
Yeah, you assaulted him. If you were a man, do you know what would be happening to you right now? You'd be in handcuffs.
Yes, you
I have it on
there's the
video.
dog. She's holding it.
I have
Yeah.
it on video.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, that's a cute dog.
Is this your girl?
Yeah, she threw a dart. Fuck her. No, I agree with Baked Alaska. Fuck her. Throw her out. Throw her in man jail. Fuck her.
Yeah, she threw a dart at him. I have it on video. If you were a man, you'd be in handcuffs right now. If you were a man, you'd be on the floor in handcuffs.
Yeah, based homosexual cameraman.
No. If she was a man, hang on. If she was a man,
She'd be in handcuffs.
she'd have her face in the fucking pavement
Exactly.
right
You can't throw... No! Stop simping for her, bro! Stop simping! You can't throw
Why is he?
darts
That's
at
not simping. Who is he talking to?
now. You threw a dart at him. You assaulted him.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Want to assault me? I'll get it on video. Whoa! You assaulted me. Hey!
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Dude, she just assaulted me, bro. She assaulted me. I'm not. She hit me. Alright, I'm not. She hit me, bro. Get around with me.
That was amazing. That was the best thing I've ever seen. What the fuck? I agree with Baked Alaska. Fuck her. Fuck that bitch. Throw them out. I agree with this fucking like obnoxious homosexual fucking Cameron. Throw her out. If she was a man, she'd be on the floor. She'd be fucking licking the floor right now. Fucking throw her. If she was a man, she'd be in man jail, spreading her cheeks. Throw her in man jail. I'm like, hell yeah. I can hear that the homosexual fucking snapping his fingers while he's recording this shit. I agree with him. I don't care how petty it is. Fuck those women. And then like as stupid as it seems, right? These women fucking prove the point. Yeah, they're a fucking menace and a danger to society because they can't resist not smacking the obnoxious homosexual fucking recording the whole thing.
Derek, would you like to have there might be a black pill, but look at the tweet thread under that tweet from.
I know. Oh, Bake doesn't want to feel his breath ganging up on women or men much weaker than him. Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah. These people are all fucking dumb. Every single one of them.
Some guy said, what a shocker, Baked Alaska only feels brave ganging up on women or men much weaker than him.
That's fucking stupid. There's him and his gay cameraman and 2 bitches and a dog. So 3 bitches.
Yeah, I'm sure they were terrified.
I'm sure they were terrified. That's why they came in for more and attacked the guy on camera.
Yeah.
Also, this bitch can definitely lift more than Baked Alaska. Like, Baked Alaska's got the more feminine form. Look at his hips. he's got bigger hips than her. She's got the shoulder. Like, we all know who the man is here. It's not fair. That dog was freaking cute, though. But I think that dog was a Chihuahua. Those fuckers are mean. Chihuahuas are those quivering little fuckers. They're so mean.
Somebody else had an interesting hypoagentic take. He said, those guys are pussy. Step 1, don't go to bars and expect trash women to be anything but trash women.
That's
so in other
fair.
words, it was like, well, yeah, but it's like the implication is that it was their fault for being there in the first place. Like,
yeah, we don't even know why the altercation started, though. That's the problem with like anything that's recorded. Like, something has to happen for someone to think, oh, I'm gonna record this, right? But then whatever happened first, you don't get recorded. It's like really, really rare, right, to have that golden like first image. Anyway, I you know what? No, fuck those women. They endangered the little dogger. They started a physical altercation. What if he didn't see the little dogger? What if the little dogger got hurt? You gotta protect the little dogger. So fuck those women. I'm 1000% team. Jail these women. Give them draconian punishments. Throw them in man jail. Claire, if you're still listening, you can put that on your list of men whinging about women. They put the baby dog in jail. That's not fair. I mean, fuck Baked Alaska. He's like a grifter piece of shit. I just wish he'd like commit to making a rap album. This fucking like low rent T-Pain knockoff shit. Did you see Donald Trump is my president where he's doing his fucking jumping jacks in his little like jumpsuit outside in front of a car?
No, I didn't see that. Sorry.
What are you even doing with your life if you didn't see Baked Alaska's foray into the music industry? It's like...
Oh, his rap songs. I did see some of those like a while ago, but...
Yeah, it's old news by now, but god damn, that shit's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just glad I found the dog. I'm glad that I don't have to like try to...
High IQ. High IQ.
Very high IQ.
His rap.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta be real. Overall, I really, really dragged the IQ and the brow of this stream down. I know you tried to do what you could to make it a stream of very, very nuanced, intelligent conversation. And we had some of that, but overall, like, just looking over the items I had for this stream, I'm just like, this was just a bunch of dumb shit I saw, and like this week I was just in awe of how stupid and terrible everything is. And everything's a problem. We problematized everything.
That feeling is...
Baked Alaska's kind of hot, though? No! What are you talking about? No.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, the hot version of Baked Alaska, and this is a hot take. The hot version of Baked Alaska is Joe Exotic. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. If you want the hot version of Baked Alaska, it's Joe Exotic. Because Joe Exotic is like the same like awful grifter personality, but like at least he like does meth and forms cults and has tigers and is a convict with a criminal record. Baked Alaska is just a bitch, right? I don't know. He says maybe a 7. Man, gay is we rate everyone like 5 points too high. If you want like a proper gay rating of anyone, you gotta subtract like 5 points. Because you show a gay man a 10 and we're like, oh my god, 15 out of 10. Fuck it. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd say that's mostly accurate.
Baked Alaska, his hair is terrible. I don't get this thing where you bleach like some of your hair but not all of it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I started cutting my own hair. And I'm doing a better job than Baked Alaska. And I just like I don't even try. I just like if I see a hair and I feel like it's too long, I just cut it. I just go fuck it. I just do it. And then like I had this like this like manic like bloodlust and just started like rapidly just cutting whatever the fuck I felt like. And now I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna grow my mullet back. This is great. I'm just like power mad. I don't know.
Yeah, it did give you a very distinctive look back when you had a mullet.
Yeah, I used to have a mullet, and I got the mullet cut, which was it was nice to kind of go back to not having a mullet for a little while, but now I'm feeling like I want to have the mullet again, and it'll be a good mullet. It'll be a very intentional mullet, a business mullet. Oh, and this is the last thing I'll mention. Okay, so no more items for this stream. I'm rebranding the channel. Instead of calling it Space Pan, I think I'm just gonna call it like my name, right? Like what other people do. They just like use their name for a thing. Cause like I never really tried to hide my identity. So and like that's what the channel always was just like shit I want to talk about. So I might change the name of the channel, but that doesn't mean anything is like actually changing. It's the same shit, you know. I use like my first and middle name, and I'll just like make that my name for things. I don't know. Is that like a big announcement? That's not really a big announcement. That's just I'm mentioning that. So anyone listening now, if you see the name of this change, you see like a thing, then you'll know. Okay, well, I think I finished talking about all the things, and I think I'm finally going to be able to go to sleep, which is very exciting. Please don't become a grifter after rebranding. I'm going to have merch. I'm going to have fucking merch. It's going to be great. Fuck it. I'm going to monetize a channel. I'll do fucking H.A. Goodman style. Nigger put... Oh, sorry. Oh, I said... Damn it, I said nigger with the R. God damn. Anyway, that fucker puts like 20 goddamn ads on his videos. And it's like ludicrous. Anyway.
It's only a matter of time before your channel gets axed, you know?
I know, right? Well, you know.
But
it is what it is. It is
yeah.
what it is. They can cancel me on YouTube, but I'll still exist. I don't even feel confident saying that because I don't like know what their power is. So okay, has Face actually started his stream yet, or is he late? Because he might be late and gay. Well, he won't be
So-
gay, because if he were gay, then he wouldn't be incel.
Well, I mean, it's only 2 minutes past when he said he was gonna start, so like he's slightly late, I guess.
Late and gay. Is his channel
Yeah.
open? Oh, good. I can call him that. I can harass him.
Do you want to call in?
Late and gay. Well, I don't know what I would say. I would just say, hey, like I
Oh,
like
right.
what you do. You're funny. I agree.
All
I
right.
don't know. You know, I wouldn't be coherent. I feel like if I'm gonna call into a show, I'd want to like make sure that I have like planned something of substance that's interesting for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have him rate my face, and he'd be like, "Pay me money," and I'd be like, "I'm too stingy." But he should
Yeah.
do that. Like he should make that his job. Like
Somebody
there's a
in the
skill
chat.
for it.
There's always someone who does this. Someone in the chat saying it's over for late and LMS cells.
That's really funny. I love this culture.
Yeah. But like, because sometimes he deletes the streams shortly after uploading, I'll save it for you if you don't get a chance to watch it, since you said you're going to bed.
Well, I'm probably just gonna like, I might just I drank a bunch of coffee, so I might just like try to stay awake as long as possible, but I'm like definitely not like mentally competent to be like on the internet right now.
Okay.
Besides like listening to a stream, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I listen to streams constantly. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up here. And I'm stream sniping. That's what the cool kids do, right? They pull up someone else's stream, and they got it up here. See, now I'm stream sniping. Now I got his stream on my stream. And now we can rag on him. We can say, look at this. Look at this. He's so late, he's probably having gay sex right now. That's why he named it Looks Live No Pot of Gold at the end of the rainbow. Rainbow's a dog whistle for being a homosexual. And this is the big stream where he's gonna tell everyone, hey, I gave in and I'm gay coping and it's good.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be his stream with his gay boyfriend, and that's why he's late. It'll be the literal late and literal gay stream.
The chat is hilarious if you have a look at it.
Let's see. Let me pull this over. My thing is cropped all stupid. I'll uncrop that part. There we go. I mean, I can look at it on my own like screen, but like the news is ever so tighter on my neck. I don't know why they make suicide so funny.
Yeah.
I can't breathe. That's good. Holy shit, that's good. Did you see that there was it was a sports thing where they had a George Floyd mural, and then they captioned it underneath. They said, "I can breathe now." Like fucking 100% unironic. Like
wow.
Fucking for real. That was amazing. That was my favorite thing I think I saw all week.
One of Face's friends, 5-4, actually did upload a stream with someone about gay coping. It wasn't 5-4 himself. He had a guest on to talk about how he'd resorted to gay coping to deal with inceldom.
Oh, I can totally see. And obviously, if you're gonna gay cope, you're not gonna go for like having sex with like a masculine presenting, like properly, like even like a straight acting man. You're gonna go for either like a very like feminine, like clean, leg shaved kind of twinkie person, or you'll go for like a trap, right? Or maybe you go for like a glory hole kind of situation, right? Like a bro job thing or whatever, right? But you're not gonna go for like just like straight up fucking a dude. And I'm thinking that perhaps like the niche of the manosphere that that now I'm like positioned in would be to try to create the bridge for like femboys to to bang the incels. I think that that's like the broken link in the circle of the manosphere is like these just like these like Nazi autistic femboys and the incels who are depressed and they need to gay cope, but someone's got to meet them halfway, and I think that's what the femboys can do, and
there's actually a term tranny maxing, but it doesn't normally refer to what you're talking about. It's actually much more crazy.
It's the incel going trans. It's the tran max.
Yeah, by which to like there are all these like incel to Becky or incel to average looking woman sort of transformations.
Well, okay, and then they go lesbian.
I guess.
See, because that's really fascinating, right? Because like the stereotype of the male to female trans is that a lot of them are like predatory or desperate men. Oh fuck, that is like the incel trope, isn't it? I feel like it's different though. I feel like it's different from like the feminist inclined. It's almost like you have like blue pill versus red pill incels.
What incel trope? What are you talking about?
Well, for example, like the idea behind like Riley Dennis is that Riley Dennis is just like a creepy weird loser, and like is therefore just like doing this to try to pressure women into having sex with him, and it's like they don't want it, but he's like totally feminist, right? And then into all the woke SJW bullshit, right? Like Riley Dennis would not in any way sympathize with the incel community because like the only people who are gonna in any way potentially sympathize with the incels are gonna be either other incels or people in the red pill. It's not gonna be like SJWs or feminists who give a shit about them. They're like diametrically opposed. Whereas you have this like problem of these male to female transsexuals who are very, very SJW, right? Who are like preying upon women. But they're an incel in a way, but they're not like these black pill / red pill incels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I've never thought of that before. That there's potentially like inceldom is actually divided, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because like it's a naturally occurring phenomenon. It's like non-ideological. It's just people in situations and then realizing that situations and then coming to the label, and even if they don't come to the label, they're still like in inceldom, even if they don't self-identify that way, and then naturally the result of that is that there's going to be this diversity of it.
I mean, I'm guessing that most of the ones who've transitioned for inceldom related reasons will probably never, they'll never admit that in the open that was their motivation for doing it. And then I guess once you've done it, you can, gain a certain amount of clout if you're a midwit, like you were talking about earlier. If you start getting involved in progressive politics. So, yeah, it could be that there's a certain number of progressive ideologues, male to female transsexuals, who began life as, maybe some of them began life on the incel message boards.
I don't know though. I feel like if they began in inceldom, I feel like it's like a totally different path. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't know how many of these. I feel like most of them have a total ignorance of it and a total repulsion towards anything remotely red pill, because like when you're in like this black pill incel community, there's a self-awareness, which is why there's so much humor surrounding it, right? And like the response to it, it's almost like healthier.
I'm saying that some of them might be pretending to completely lack that awareness, but then I guess like you'd have to be incredibly Machiavellian to be able to fake something like that as well as that. If they originally came from that culture.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I'm not saying it's typical or common. I'm just saying it might be a thing with some of them.
right. Well, and of course, if we're talking about 35+%, then statistically, there's gonna be some, right, who kind of fit that.
Yeah.
Face Anonymous is a Chad channel by Chads for Chads. Face reveal.
Yeah.
His face is already revealed.
Face's PC ghosted him, someone said.
He has been talking about getting his new PC for like 6 fucking months. Like, I bought a new PC on a whim because I kind of felt like it maybe was necessary.
Okay, Nuclear Redfield left. It's funny how, like, we're literally just here commentating on the chat of another stream, but, like,
It is
Nuclear...
funny. It's a new thing.
Nuclear Redfield said most people in the incel community are low-tier normies, which, I don't know, there might be something to that, but, like, do you remember I was talking to you about this the other week, like, the implosion of low-tier normiedom that's coming, and that might be something to do with it, I guess. As in the reason that there are lots of those kinds of people in these online communities now is because the window or the level of attractiveness that men have to meet to have any sexual access is continuously getting smaller. So now you have these like low tier normie type people who aren't getting any, even with very ugly women.
Yeah, well, and naturally that's what's going to happen, right? Is naturally you're going to have a more and more mainstream representative group of people coming into it. And, this is nothing new. This has always been the case, right? This is the whole, 4chan has their new fag, old fag dichotomy, right? And, of course, it even predates that, So, yeah, it's like anything. And it's,
Somebody said...
it's a negative aspect of all the things, but it's what it is.
Yeah, somebody said sub 8 is cope. I don't know what that means.
Sub 8 is cope?
Yeah.
I just feel like it's funny.
You never know.
Mystic Vault, sub 8 is cope. Why is that fun? That shouldn't be funny at all. The stream never began. If you're 25, then yes, give up. The stream is over. It's funny because like there's some of the is just like mimetic. There's not even a joke, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
I have so I have a stepbrother, and he was never, I don't think he was ever into any of like the shit I'm totally into, but like he's always had kind of a pulse, especially on like kind of the more salient like online drama kind of stuff, right? Like he was into Medicare and stuff, and into like following online communities and like really outrageous and shocking things. But then I try to explain like men's rights stuff, and I feel like to him it's not as interesting because it's like much more serious and it's like not as funny. But I'm explaining to him, like, I really like Face and LMS, and I think that the incels have a lot of, like, really good points, and he's just like, I can't respond to that. He's just like, what are you fucking talking about? And I'm, like, trying to, like, I wish that he would, like, watch this and, like, experience it, because it's so goddamn funny. It's, like, funny and sad, and it's, like, so many things. There's just nothing like it.
So was he interested in men's issues or something, or not?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, is, like, you explain... So I'm, like, an obnoxious person, right? And I just, like, tell people, like, people are like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I just, like, spend 26 hours a day listening to people complain about men's issues. And people are like, okay, like, what? I'm like, oh, here's half a dozen of them. I can give you, like, 10 more. And they're like, oh, wow. And, like very often people will say, like, oh, I think I heard about this one thing, right? And I don't, like in hindsight, I understand that it's like, okay, like, meet them halfway, talk about the one thing that, like, they understand and, like, make it about that. But, like, in the moment, I just, like, I don't have that level of thinking, oh, it's starting.
Listen,
that's good.
we found this product at $1.50 and sold it at $18.
I'm sitting here like, oh, this is my opportunity to be like,
now, so it's
yeah,
happening.
That
It's
one
happening.
thing, that one fucking thing that you're talking about, right?
Let's do this.
That means there's
Alrighty.
like that's part of a system, and there's like 10 of them.
Right. So let's see.
They don't want to hear about.
To be honest,
Okay,
like
take that off.
I sincerely doubt that they've actually only ever heard of one of the issues that are talked about in the manosphere, because
one.
most
They
of
only
them
care
actually
about
are.
one. They only care about one.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. And what I was about to say is that they don't conceptualize. They probably have heard of a lot more than they say, but they don't conceptualize it as a men's issue that needs to be addressed because they don't care. Like, you'd be lucky to find someone who isn't at least somewhat aware of most of the things we talk about. They just don't care. Women certainly don't care. Most men don't care, especially when young and when they have like certain other characteristics. That there's more complexity to it when you're talking about men's attitudes to it. But yeah, just generally people don't give a shit. It's not that they lack the knowledge, they're just utterly sociopathic.
I mean, I don't doubt that's often the case. I think there is a lot of ignorance, but it's a willful ignorance.
Yeah.
And that's what's so frustrating about caring about men's issues, is you realize that like everyone's a cunt. Just like 98% of humans are just cunts. Basically.
Yep. Right, well,
Alright,
I'm gonna head up.
I'm gonna head out too, because I can't even think.
Okay, see you later.
This stream is over.